is no such thing as lost souls, demons, or magic.
You sure about that?
Well, Dean, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here talking with you.
Raul, it's nice to meet you as well.
I've always been a fan of your work, especially Leverage. Leverage is among my favorite, but I also have a soft spot for the Librarians, which we are going to talk here a little bit more. But Leverage was one of my favorite time all growing up. I'm here on behalf of Séries da TV, which is a Portuguese medium that covers everything TV show related. And as you probably know, the Librarians' next chapter is going to arrive in Portugal soon, in Portugal and other countries. I know that it is already out in some, but to the Portuguese fans that haven't seen it yet, what can you tell us to expect about this spin-off?
Well, I'd say if you liked the original, I think there's a very good chance you're going to enjoy this show. It has all the vitamins and minerals of the original, yet it's completely fresh. One of the confusions I think that people have is they think that it is a reboot, and it's not. The best way to think about the new show is kind of what Andor was to Star Wars. You know, it was a show outside of the Skywalker family, right? And this is a show that's taking place parallel to the librarians that are working in the United States. This one is European based, and it deals with a lot more European legends, European folklore, and but yet it has all the things that you liked about the first show.
Perfect. And that actually brings me to another question, because you said people who like the first one will like these. That seems to be a speciality of yours, because you've done that positively with Leverage. You are doing it now with the Librarians, again, because the Librarians also exists for more than 20 years by now. What is your secret to be able to keep these franchises alive and successful? Because we've seen a lot of attempts at that fail, and yours have been positively received by the audience.
Well, thank you. That's a very sweet thing to say, but I can't take any credit for it. I think that the credit goes entirely to the audience and the fans. The fans have kept it alive. The fans have been demanding new versions of the show. The fans have been so vocal. You know, if you do a hashtag search of either Librarians or Leverage, it's stunning how every single day they're talking about the show and the things they want to see and the things they don't want to see. And so, you know, I think the key for us was just honoring them. You know, is thinking about, okay, we're fans of the show. You know, we love making the show. How do we do this in a way where we're not trying to second guess? Oh, what does a modern audience want, or what does the market research say, or what is the new trend? No, we just try to honor why people like the show and try to continue that energy and that vibe. And honestly, I think in both shows, it's about, you know, an optimistic, positive experience where bad guys get punched in the neck.
Well, you say you can't take any credit, but you've had a lot of hats throughout your career, and especially for the Librarians and Leverage as well, such as producer, sometimes writer, sometimes director. So you clearly know these characters, and you know what makes the show appreciated by the fans. Which is the kind of role that you have more fun with of all of these that you have participated on?
You know, each role has its own advantage and disadvantage. I remember the very first time I went to direct was the pilot of Leverage back in 2008. And I remember calling Roland Emmerich and asking him for some advice as a director. And Roland said to me, "Dean, directing is an endless series of disappointments." He said, "You start off with this perfect thing in your head, and day by day you compromise until you don't recognize what you've done anymore." But at the same time, directing is also when you get to work with the actors and you get to try to make things on the script come to life, and you get to find locations that are interesting and exciting. So the directing is wonderful. Being in the writer's room with this incredible group of writers and discussing the story and coming up with ideas is super fun. I love being in the editing room and seeing something that doesn't work and figuring out a way to make it work. You know, so I can't say I love every aspect of it. And I hate every aspect of it. So, so I guess that's why I do so many of them, is to just try to live in the good parts of each one as much as possible.
Or to take the parts away from other people so they can enjoy more there. No, but
There you go.
you are a jack of all trades, and I think it's clear to see how much you like what you bring to the fans, and that's amazing. Speaking of what you bring to the fans, although in Portugal we haven't seen the show, I went to have a sneak peek at the IMDb, and I saw that Christian Kane is going to be back for a few appearances. Uh, does that mean that we can expect maybe in the nearby future some other old familiar faces to also make their return?
Well, we've just finished shooting the second season, so that was really a great compliment that they gave us 2 seasons right off the bat. And Christian returns, and 2 other characters from the original will make appearances in the first 2 seasons. I don't want to say which ones, so that you have some fun with it.
Mhm.
And then if we continue on, I'm hoping more will come. I think we wanted to kind of make a balance of allowing the audience to fall in love with these new characters without relying too much on the old characters. But at the same time, we love the old characters and we like seeing them. So
A little bit of the best of both worlds. But by now, are you already tired of working with Christian? Because he seems to be the actor that you've worked with for the longer amount of time.
you know, I have a love-hate with Christian. I love him as a guy. He drives me crazy because he insists on doing all of his own stunts, and I'm constantly yelling at him saying, "I'm paying a stunt guy to roll over the car. I don't need you to roll over the car." And he will always roll over the car. And I'm like, "Christian, if you get hurt, my production shuts down." He goes, "I won't get hurt." So he makes me nuts. But he's so talented, and he's got such a wonderful fan base who really support him and then support our shows, and I'm very very grateful for them as well. But yeah, I think I've done 5 series now with Christian, so he's a bit of a good luck charm for me.
Yeah, and it seems to be working. Speaking as well about something that is usually a characteristic of the shows you've been involved, particularly Leverage and the Librarians, is that you can balance high stake drama with also a little moments of comic relief, but without ever going to a silly kind of territory. Like you always have a little bit of comic relief throughout the episodes while having drama. Is this something that you feel and that you try to keep this balanced?
This is a lesson that was kind of I learned the hard way very early in my career, is that if if the drama of the episode, if the heart of the episode is not solid, it tends to get too silly, and then it feels like watching this. But if we really anchor the emotional story, we can actually get way sillier because they balance each other. And I think there's nothing more fun than watching a kind of crazy show that you're having a good time with, and all of a sudden finding yourself crying. I always think about, I was on an airplane once, and I was watching Doctor Who on my iPad, and it was that famous episode with Vincent Van Gogh. I don't know if you know this episode, but
I
it
know the
just go watch it tonight. I promise you. So I'm on this airplane, I'm laughing, I'm enjoying myself, and all of a sudden I'm sobbing like a 13-year-old girl on the plane, and people are looking at me and go, "Vincent Van Gogh is learning that he's loved." I mean, I just love that. I love when genre can actually move me emotionally, um, without taking away the fun. Because to me, I watch genre for fun. I'm not watching it to be taught lessons in life. I want to get away from the problems of my life. I want to get away from dealing with pandemics and political strife and economic hardship and deaths in families. I want to escape in my escapist entertainment. But I do feel that if we can lock in the heart of the story, it allows us to have more fun.
Yeah, I Doctor Who I haven't seen, but it happened a little bit the same with the end of the Parker arc in Leverage with me. It touched me the when she learns that she's loved, because it's a character that struggles with that. And by the way, Beth's work on that character was absolutely amazing, out of this world.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. And she's really touched some people. She's really touched people. I had a woman come up to me very recently, and she told me that she had severe autism. I mean, so severe that she could barely function in the world. And she said every time she saw someone like her represented in film and television, they were freaks. It was Rain Man or The Good Doctor. And she kept saying, I'm not a freak. And she said it was actually Beth's portrayal that made her feel like she could survive in this world, that she could move forward. And to me, one person having that reaction to a performance is better than any Oscar, Emmy, Tony Award. That's what it's all about.
It is, and you were part of that. And if there's that person that was able to talk with you, for sure there are more throughout the world that haven't had the chance to tell that and feel that. Something as well that is a little bit a trademark, and I wanted to know what yours thought of that, is that usually in Leverage and Librarians, which I think in a good way they're quite similar, in the resolution of the conflict, whatever the conflict from week is, it's solved more through cleverness and not just have Christian punch a bunch of guys, which also happens, but usually that just doesn't solve the conflict by itself.
That's right.
Is this something that you try to protect in your stories, that it has to have a good train of thought so the solution doesn't magically appear and plot armor and it's solved?
So I think it's true in both shows, but even more so in the Librarians, in that what really attracted me to both of these is that these are people who accomplish amazing things through knowledge. That the superpower is how well educated they are, or how well trained they are. John Rogers calls it competency porn. And to me, I love that because it's not like my heroes got hit by a lightning bolt or a radioactive thing that gave them some superpower. Their superpower is they spent a lot of time learning something. And to me, what that says to an audience is, hey, you could be a librarian. Just study more, just read more, just be more passionate about the things you want to learn. And that to me is a message that I like a lot. That the human potential, the potential we have by just being clever, uh, far exceeds any kind of magic or superpower.
Our sole mission is to protect powerful magical objects from getting in the hands of evil men.
So cool.
You cannot comprehend the danger we are all in.
So we're just gonna wait here for a creature compelled to kill us? Good. No, I just wanted to lock that plan down.
You said that this season and this show we're going to explore more a little bit the European mythology and things. Did you have to do a lot of research? Was there some particular influence that you've had to get inspired for this?
Well, Raul, one of the things that happens in our writers' room is that the minute we start coming up with an idea, we think, well, what would be the kind of magical artifact or the kind of mythology we would need? And then we immediately start researching across Europe because we want to see, well, what fits them that would be unique to them as opposed to a group out of the US. And it's been fun for us because while there's one European in our writers' room, for the most part, this is all new stuff for us. And so we get very excited and we go down the rabbit hole of, oh, what's a Drekavac? And oh, the demon, and what's the legend behind it? Oh, they cut the thing's head off and it was thrown into a lake. What? And the more we get excited about it, then the more it inspires our storytelling. But one of the things that's been true from the very first Librarian movie all the way through here is we've always wanted that the fan who watched the show could then go it later and Google whatever we had in the show and find out that there's actually a lot of um, canon behind everything that we've talked about, outside of our show. Now we may tell you that our version is more accurate than the version you've read on Google, but there's still a connection. There's still a connection between real mythologies and what we have on the show. Everything's based on something.
Perfect. Final two questions because we're getting to the end of our time. First one, and it might be a tough one for you to choose, but do you have a favorite episode of this season that we can look forward?
Oh boy, that's a tough call. I really, really love the tarot card episode, which is in the middle. But the finale, I'm so proud of that finale. I think it may be one of the best finales we've ever done. Just the way it ties up the entire season and delivers emotionally on all the questions throughout the year. I've never been one for wanting to do giant cliffhangers at the ends of seasons. I've always wanted every season to be a complete meal. And This season actually has both. So I'm very excited to see how the fans in Portugal react to the season.
That's perfect. I think it's coming on September the 9th. I personally look forward to see it, and so it's coming very soon. Last one, a little bit of different, but I'm a board game fan, and the other day, a few months ago, I went to a board game cafe, and I found a Librarians card game, which was
Yeah.
quite fun to play. Were you or the librarian team involved in somewhat to make sure that the game was going together with the same flow of the show, or it was just purchase the rights, some company purchased the rights and they did it?
No, no, they came to us about the idea. They were really terrific, and I was not very involved because I'm not a role play gamer, but John Rogers is, and he got very involved with them and making sure that the canon worked and that it fit with us. And the game did quite well for a while, and then it kind of just disappeared. So it's fun to watch people finding it again now that the new series is out.
Well, Dean, it was a pleasure. Like I said, I'm really a big fan of your thing, especially the
Thank
leverage
you.
will always have a special place in my heart. And it was a pleasure to have these 15 minutes hearing a little bit about someone who is so involved in creating these universes.
Raul, it's been lovely talking to you, and I hope I get to talk to you again after you've seen the season. I want to see what you
Yeah,
thought of it.
would be my pleasure. Thank you very
Great.
much. Have a nice day.